y'all, welcome to Scrappin with Sheri. I am back in my sketchbook, and you know I'm loving this because I just keep going through the book and finding pages that work. But I'm on page 9 today in the sketchbook, and I'm actually going to do a one-pager for a change. That doesn't happen very often with me. And I'm using the paper called Sunflower Fields. And this has sunflowers, obviously. And it has a really great brown background that I liked. And that has the decorative sunflowers on the back, but I'm not going to use that. I pulled out these 3 sheets to use. I have these little sunflower fields embellishments that I think I'll use. And I found these stickers that I had left over. I feel like this is going to be a really quick page. And this particular page is going to be pictures. We went to visit this place called Camel Rock. You can only walk up to it. It wasn't anything major, but I thought it was cute. And I had just read online that its nose fell off. So my husband wanted me to pose like I was pinching his nose off. So I did. And then I had these pictures of the sunflowers that were near where we saw Camel Rock. So not a great big deal, but something I did want to include in there because I thought it was a neat place. So let me get some things out of the way and we'll start looking at what we've got to make. Now remember, the sketches are your interpretation. And when I looked at this sketch, I see this design here, but I don't want to cut all these different papers to make this design. So I'm going to start with these borders that go across here. The brown is going to be my background, but I've got a 1-inch border, a 1-inch border, and a 1/2-inch border. I really only wanted to use these 3 sheets of paper. So what I'm going to do is make my sunflowers be this middle border, which is 1. And then I'm going to use the yellow to make a 1 and a 1/2 inch. So let's get the straight trimmer. I'm going to use my yellow for a 1 and for a 1/2 inch. So I'm going to cut my 1/2 inch first using this first line here. And this is a top and bottom design. So I'm going to cut the 1/2 inch again while I've got that in my mind. So I've got my 2 1/2-inch yellow ones. I'm going to do 2 1-inch yellow ones. So there's 1 and 1 more coming. And then with the sunflower paper, I'm going to do a 1-inch border for the center. And there are 2 top and bottom. So I'm going to make the 1-inch top and bottom. Now, if you're real fussy about, oh, I've got to do the sketch exactly the same, there is also a different color paper as a background right here down this side. And you could make that or you cannot. I think I'm going to make it using this brown paper. And that one says it's a 1 by 12. So I'm going to cut another 1 inch using this. Now, what you're seeing right here is the beauty of using one collection where everything coordinates. I didn't really have to take time to look at, oh, this green and this brown are not exactly the same, or these colors don't look good together, or whatever. I don't have that issue because it is one collection and everything matches. So let's go ahead and start sticking these down. Now I'm going to do the yellow top and bottom, the sunflowers in between, and then my little thin strips of yellow here and here. And all I got to do is tape. Now, I could use this brighter yellow on this side if I wanted to. My issue I ran into was I just didn't feel like it went well with these flowers as well. Now, for my flowers in my pictures, yeah, that bright side looks really good. But I decided I would stick with a more muted shade just so that the papers match better, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Let's stick our sunflowers down. And I did choose to wait till the end to add that border that's going down this left side because I don't want all of these pieces going over that border. And I think you'll see why in just a minute. So let me get that on there. And then we've got our little thin strips. I don't have my repositionable tape runner just handy right now. It would be easy to use it, but it's not so thin that you can't do it with your regular as well. Again, this collection is Sunflower Fields, and I was thrilled when it came out because we were actually on this trip when this pack was released, and we had seen so many sunflowers. I was ecstatic. I went ahead and ordered it, and by the time we got home from vacation, it was already here. Now, I mentioned to you in the sketch that there are little pieces of paper. These are 1 by 2 inch rectangles, and they just did these alternating up and down. I didn't really want to do that because I don't want any more patterns on this paper, but in looking at what I had of my stickers for this collection, I discovered I had this green, which is kind of nice, and it's got that back and forth, but I really like this right here. And I'm just going to use it right along the edge of this seam right here, just to close in that seam a little bit. Now, that green does have the back and forth. You know, it would be great on there, but I like just closing the seam with that piece right there. So I'm also going to use a few of these little sunflower embellishments. But you know what? Maybe I need to put my pictures on first and then decide where we want to use these. But aren't those so cute? So let's add our photos. Remember, I didn't have many photos. In my vacation album, this is going to be a left-hand page, so I did leave the border on that side. This one is obviously important because that's what it is, Camel Rock. And these two are a little bit big, and they take up way too much of my space. So let's pull the personal trimmer and see what we can do with these. Now, I could always lose a little sky and a little bottom on this. And if you've been watching these videos with the vacation stuff, you've seen me do this multiple times. But I've just cut off the top and the bottom. I've left the white border intact. And I'm just going to add tape to the picture laying under there. Add tape to the part I cut off, and then slide this right up there. And that just puts my border right back on my picture. And I'm going to do the same on the bottom, but then I'm going to trim that white border just a hair. I feel like it's a little heavy for these pictures, especially once I've trimmed down this picture to make it a long, skinny one. My friend Susanna will be watching this saying, but you don't like long, skinny pictures. And Susanna, you're right. I don't typically. But for this space, I really needed it. And I think it'll work for us. I'm just taking off a little of that excess white border just to make it a little bit smaller. So we've got that picture done. But I still want to cut in a little bit more on these. And this one, it's easy enough to take off. I can take the dead flowers off the top. Take the dirt off the bottom. And here again, I'm just going to add that back on to keep that white border going. Just so I don't have to pull out a sheet of white paper and work with it. Have you ever tried ordering bordered pictures like this? Would this bother you to have to go back and redo some of them for sizing purposes? I mean, I guess if you only used 4x6 all the time, you wouldn't have to worry about that aspect of it. But my pages don't always lend themselves to using just a 4x6 picture all the time. Okay, so I've got that and that. I am going to cut this one down. Just cut down the white on that a little bit. Just to make that white border a little more the same on all those pictures. And there's the look we've got going. Now, I slid that here because I want to add a little journaling box. And again, in this collection, I was looking through the mats that came with it. I love this, but that doesn't really give me any place to say anything. So I'm going to add this journaling mat for a couple of different reasons. It pulls in a lot of colors. It's got some space. I don't have to write a lot, but I do want to write something. And I just kind of like the size, the shape. I like everything about that little mat. It is almost the same height as that photo I trimmed down. So what if we trim that mat just a hair to make it the same size as our photo? I do like it when things are the same size. So we can slide those up a little. Now they're still overlapping a little down here on my yellow. And then just the tiny little bit of journaling I need to do about Camel Rock I could do here. So let's get those pictures stuck down. We'll add a few embellishments and then I will journal after it's posted. Pretty quick, huh? And our initial layout had 2 pictures on the page, one larger one smaller one. You know that doesn't really work for me most of the time. So in doing it this way, we've added 3 pictures, our title / journaling box, and we've got a cute design too. So we've got all the fun elements except for that zigzaggy look. And I could have done the zigzag. I just didn't want to add any more busyness to this particular page. All right, so we got a lot of the basic elements of the sketch. Now, these embellishments are already layered embellishments, and you probably can't see that, but they came layered. So really all I have to do with them is to add some tape runner on the back of them, and they're ready to stick. I'm going to add a couple with some leaves. I need to make my leaves go this way so they'll actually show up. I think I'll do a couple of different ones right there. As much as I love foam squares, these layered embellishments are really good for me. It saves me the hassle of having to foam square it myself. Yeah, a couple of colors there. And then I'll add one more here, I think. And then we've got these little banner embellishments that I think that would be really cute right there just to finish this page off. All right. So what do you think? I think that's a pretty nice page. This is sketch number 9 in our layout book. I hope you enjoyed that. I will add the journaling later. But until next time, happy scrapping.